Before we begin, if you value deep historical knowledge that still matters today, subscribe to History Vault now. This channel is dedicated to preserving techniques the modern world abandoned too early, and today's subject is one of the most overlooked yet practical examples of medieval intelligence ever applied to construction. Modern builders accept wood rot as inevitable. Homeowners budget for replacement beams. Architects compensate with chemicals, pressure treatment, and synthetic barriers. Yet medieval structures across Europe still hold timber that has survived 500 to 800 years, exposed to damp climates, seasonal flooding, and poor ventilation. The difference begins with how medieval builders understood moisture. They did not attempt to trap wood away from water completely. Instead, they controlled how moisture entered, moved through, and exited the timber. Rot does not begin simply because wood gets wet. Rot begins when moisture becomes trapped, oxygen remains available, and fungi are allowed to colonize the fibers. Medieval construction focused on interrupting this process at multiple stages, starting before the tree was ever cut. Trees were felled at specific times of year, almost always in winter when sap content was lowest. This reduced internal sugars that fungi feed on. Logs were then seasoned slowly in open air, sometimes for years, allowing internal moisture to stabilize naturally instead of being forced out quickly, as in modern kiln drying. This slow seasoning hardened the cell walls and reduced internal cracking, which later limits water penetration. The forgotten practice of sacrificial surfaces and reversible decay. One of the most important medieval techniques was the intentional use of sacrificial outer layers. Instead of sealing wood completely, builders allowed the outer surface of beams to weather while protecting the core. This was achieved through surface charring, lime washing, and oil saturation, all of which slowed moisture absorption without trapping it. Light charring, sometimes called fire hardening, was not meant to burn wood deeply. It altered the surface chemistry, creating a carbonized layer hostile to fungi and insects. Japanese builders preserved this practice, but medieval Europeans used it as well, especially on sill beams and posts touching stone foundations. The charred surface repelled water while still allowing vapor to escape, preventing trapped moisture. Lime wash was another critical tool. Applied repeatedly over decades, it created an alkaline surface that discouraged biological growth. Why, medieval foundations actually mattered more than the beams themselves. Rot most often begins where wood meets stone or soil. Medieval builders addressed this by physically separating timber from constant moisture sources. Sill beams were raised on stone plinths. Posts sat on sacrificial pads or oak blocks designed to fail first and be replaced. In some regions, thin lead sheets or layers of birch bark were placed between wood and stone, acting as capillary breaks that stopped ground moisture from wicking upward. This approach is immediately applicable today. A homeowner repairing a shed or cabin can, extend its life dramatically by lifting wooden posts off concrete with stone or metal spacers, allowing airflow underneath. Even a small gap interrupts moisture transfer and reduces fungal growth. The role of ventilation that modern walls no longer allow. Medieval buildings breathed. Timber frames were exposed internally, not buried behind vapour barriers, insulation foam and synthetic wraps. Air movement allowed beams to dry quickly after wet seasons. Moisture that entered the structure did not remain trapped long enough for decay to take hold. Practical steps for applying medieval rot prevention today. A modern builder or survivalist can adapt these principles without recreating a medieval house. Using untreated or lightly treated wood and seasoning it outdoors before construction reduces internal moisture stress. Applying a breathable oil, such as raw linseed oil, sometimes mixed with pine tar, creates water resistance while preserving vapour movement. Charring the ends of posts that will be near the ground provides long-term protection without chemicals. Elevating wood off soil and allowing airflow beneath floors and walls prevents moisture accumulation. Most importantly, avoiding impermeable coatings ensures that when wood does get wet, it can dry. Why modern materials failed where medieval knowledge succeeded. Industrial construction prioritizes speed, uniformity, and short-term performance. Medieval builders worked slowly, locally, and with materials they expected to maintain across generations. Their rot-proofing methods were not accidental traditions. They were tested responses to failure, refined over centuries and proven by survival. The tragedy is not that modern builders lack better technology. It is that they forgot principles that still outperform many modern solutions when durability matters most. If you found value in this exploration of lost construction knowledge, subscribe to History Vault and share this episode with anyone who believes the past still has something to teach us. The techniques we forget are often the ones we need most.